Infectious, how's it going, bub? So today I'll be going over the new and updated orb or sphere monument that's been added in the recent update of Rust. So many changes were made to the orb that it's arguably the best monument in the whole entire map. The reason behind making this monument the best of them all is because it's so interactive, cool, and actually quite useful. Not only is it the largest and tallest monument, making it the most recognizable landmark across the land, it has a few other aspects to it. It's actually quite the useful place for both gathering crude oil and burning it down. As you can see, red barrels and other barrels spawn on these 3 cylinders and around the base of the orb. Inside these red barrels are crude oil, which can be burned at one of the 2 oil refineries stationed here at the orb. One of those stations can be found right next to the 3 cylinders, and the other one on the other side by the entrance into the orb. This is also a very useful place for gathering loot, as loot crates can be found all over the orb, containing various items, tools, and weapons. But my favorite aspect of the orb overall is the fact that it's pretty much designed as an arena. And now, why exactly would this monument feel like a PvP battleground for players? Well, we'll explore the inside of it, and I will show off all the hidden and various ways players can kill each other. Right next to one of the oil refineries, you can find this broken pipe ramping up into the orb. This monument requires a lot of parkour and jumping from steep heights. Eventually, you most likely will fall and die. As you can see here, this is a very narrow beam that you must walk across in order to get to the front entrance of the orb. You have to really be careful and watch your step, as this orb is very, very dangerous. On the other side of the orb, you can find the 3 cylinders. Now over here is another possible entrance. As I've climbed up one of the cylinders, over here you can notice that there is some sort of bridge on rope that is suspended in the air. Potentially, you could get a couple people to jump on each other, maybe jump on top of this, and jump over onto that bridge. But this entrance requires multiple people, where the other one, on the other side of the orb, you could do it by yourself. As we enter the sphere, you can pick up on the creepy and disturbing ambient sounds that it plays. In order to climb all the way to the top, you must cross skinny beams and perform many dangerous jumps. This orb is almost built in layers, and each layer consists of many different aspects to it. For instance, I consider this as the second layer. Down there at the bottom is the first layer. I'll go over all the layers in this orb and why each one is different and what each one holds for secret hiding places and ways to kill each other. And I was starting off with the first layer. There's not a whole lot down here, but there is the entrance. So a pretty good hiding spot is right here at the front door. As you can see, a peeled piece of sheet metal is peeled back to give you a little bit of a window of the front entrance. So you can cover down this area and spray anyone coming up from that skinny beam to get up here. Let's say you just got up here and you want to enter the sphere, but someone's up on another level guarding this entrance and shooting down at you. Well, there is another way to get inside of the orb. If you keep on running around, you can end up by the 3 silos, and there's another peeled piece of sheet metal, which you can crawl through and enter the orb. Another spot to shoot out of on the first layer of the orb is this opening on the left hand side when you first enter the orb. As you can see, the entrance can slightly be seen from this angle, so if anyone comes up running to it from this side, you can gun them down. And as we finish up with the first layer, we continue on with the second layer. A spot that I like is right here where you can jump over this railing, land on the support beam, run up, and get all the way to the other end. Then you can now jump on this platform, and now from here you can defend the 3 cylinders, because this is a pretty popular spot for people gathering crude oil or barrels in general. Now you can cover all 3 of them and anyone possibly trying to go up the second entrance, which may or may not be possible unless you have multiple people. And also from this platform, you are protected from anyone below you, and you have a pretty good spot to shoot down on them with. If you want to get back and off this platform, all you have to do is slide down the side or jump on this railing, jump on the pipe, and run all the way back over to here. There we go. On the path to get to the top, the second layer leads us back outside, and this is where it gets interesting. We can either climb those barrels and start making our way towards the third layer, which will eventually lead to the top of the orb, which has the best loot in this whole entire monument, or we can slide down the ramp, land on the 3 cylinders, or we can ride this little ring that wraps all the way around the orb, which will eventually lead all the way back out to the front entrance. And there's the platform that we were on earlier, so if someone was hiding there, this is a good spot to get them from the behind. Careful while you're running on this thing, it's very narrow, and if you fall, you will die. Now, as you can see, I am right above the front entrance. no one could possibly even notice me up here, and I could just shoot right down on them. But I am exposed if someone eventually does find me. So you can climb inside right here, and you're in a little bit more cover. But this still isn't the best spot to cover the entrance. We'll cover that later. As we climb the barrels, we're starting to make our way towards the third layer, but we're not there just yet. We have another ring that wraps around the orb, but this one doesn't do a whole lot. And as we make our way towards the third layer, we come across this divide, which actually meets up shortly ahead. But this does not allow people to be choked up here, as we have two different route options. We can descend down the ramp. If we take a left here, we can hide behind it, possibly jump anyone else going down it. And it also gives us a view of one of the oil refineries. If we continue up the ramp, we'll get to where the two paths connect again. And as this top path just gives us a little bit more height and the ability to pass someone below us. Here is where it gets a little bit more tricky. There's a lot of jumping involved, and eventually you probably will miss one of those jumps and fall to your death. So here we go. You have to make the leap of faith and run across these pipes, get back on the platform. Try not to get shot. So as you continue on your journey to the third layer, you ascend more and more. We have to cross yet another skinny ring wrapping around the orb. We're back on the ramps, and we are just about to enter the orb again. Oh, and I forgot to mention when I first came through here, before you go in and walk on that circular base inside, on your journey up here, you walk across this skinny metal beam wrapping around the orb. Well, right next to it is another bent beam dangling below. You can jump on this and actually get up to the fourth layer from here. But it takes about just as long, if not longer, because you have to walk all the way around the whole entire orb without falling to your death. Well, you'd actually fall down to a layer below, then you're actually backtracking. So this isn't the safest way to get up to the fourth layer, but it's definitely a different way. And from here, you can drop down to this secret balcony. This is the only way to land on this platform, because this ring right here, there's no other way to get on top of it unless you have someone else boost jump you. So if you're alone, that's the only way you get on this balcony. We are now entering what I consider the third layer of the orb. This is where some more loot spawns in this middle section here with the railings. We got a bow and some arrows, and over here at this chest, we will find a torch and blueprint fragments. This support beam right here takes us up to another platform, which is actually directly above the latest platform. And as we climb up the beam, as soon as we get to the end, we are allowed to jump to the other side, and now we have a much higher and much sturdier platform. Back to the middle ring, we are now about to attempt the jump that will take us up to the last layer, the fourth layer, which is pretty much the top of the orb. So here you have to make this jump onto that skinny little beam. If you miss, you will surely fall and die below. Right before we make that jump though, you can crawl across this beam and grab this chest and see what goodies may lie inside. The best way I found to take this jump is to jump at the very last second. That's pretty obvious, but just literally wait until you're at the very end of the ramp. If you jump too soon, you won't even make it. If you jump too late, you probably won't even end up jumping at all. And as you see, we landed on the skinny beam, easy as pie. Now as you're on the third layer, right before you head up to the fourth layer going up the ramps, come to the end here where there's a drop off. As you can see, there is a little bit of a pipe sticking out. All you have to do is run off and you'll surely land on the thing. Then now you must run and jump over to this platform, circular platform. Now slide down the wall and land on this little support beam wrapping around the inside. Now, as you see here, there is a bent piece of metal blocking your path. You must now jump over this and you will land back on the support beam, and now you're in the best hiding spot in the whole entire orb. As you remember, there's only one way of getting inside this orb really, and it's riding that long and skinny beam to the top. Well, this gives you a clear shot of anyone riding that beam and also anyone on the platform after the beam. And if anyone managed to get past you, then skips all your bullets, you can then turn around and gun them down as they're entering the orb. Just the most perfect spot of all. If you want to get down from here without dying, just jump back to where you were walking before and ride the side of the orb down to the first and second layer. As you can see, that spot is impossible to achieve by trying to jump up from down here. Riding the support beam on the second layer can almost get you up to that spot, but not quite. We are now back to the third layer where we can head up the ramps and start heading towards the very tippy top of the orb. Here is another overhanging platform that's actually directly across from the last platform I showed. Heading out to the top takes us back outside where we can ride up more ramps and we now have another split path. We can either take a right here and go up these ramps and easily be up to the top. And by taking that right path, we are now here at the very tippy top of this monument. This is the highest point. This is where most of the loot spawns too. Now instead of taking that right path, you can walk across this ring that wraps around the orb and pretty much go up anywhere that you want to. Because you can just walk right up the orb and crawl right under the bridge, and here you are at the very top of the orb. Another really good spot for shooting down anyone inside of the orb making their way up to you is this opening right here. As you can see, you can pretty much crawl out and shoot down anyone below you. And over here, you have protection to your back if anyone's on a mountain behind it trying to snipe you out. So that's pretty much it, guys, for all the hiding spots and different ways you can kill each other. And that's exactly why I think this place was designed for PvP, because there's so many different ways you can kill each other, hide from each other. It's just perfect for a battleground. The reason why this is perfect for a battleground is because of all the different positions you can get into. They all have their pros and cons. Usually, it has a really good way of guarding down a single position, but someone else can possibly get at you from a different angle or sneak behind you, leaving no spot to be too overpowered, as there's always a way to counter against it. I hope I helped you guys understand how important this monument is, as it can be used for resources and as a PvP battleground. I hope you guys found this video very informational. My honest opinion about this monument is that it's very badass and can actually be very useful for Rust, because of the fact that it can be used for resources and it can be used for entertainment, as I can make quite the PvP battleground video if we get 20 some odd people inside of there gunning each other down, trying to make their way up different layers, having people hiding in various spots. It should be a whole lot of fun. So thank you all so much for watching this video. Remember to have a fantastic day. I know I will. I will see you guys all later. What do? I got a headshot on him? Come on, that should have been game winner. I had one bullet and I got a headshot on him like a boss. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. Oh, no.